I imagine a Batman whose tools are more than effective, just short of lethal, defining his genius, whose methods are accompanied by pinpoint precision, the kind found in medical books, refined in time spent with Ted Grant, Henry Ducard, Giovanni Zatara, among others, unrelenting, obsessed. All that matters is the mission, and the mission is justice. A fight worth fighting for, a city worth saving, where criminals deserve full body casts more often than not, where no child has to lose their parents to some scumbag with a gun. I imagine a Batman like this, and maybe you do too. If not completely, I'm sure it's close. There will be parallels in all of our visions of the Batman. Like the cave, the car, the utility belt, the money, in his purpose to save the innocent while correcting the guilty. Hollywood can and will exercise their creative license until the cows come home. And I take issue with that. That's right, I'm one of those. Jonah Hex, Batgirl, Superman, Batman, these characters have source material, don't they? It's insulting when some Hollywood creator type doesn't understand it, or worse, straight up ignores it. Some of my very best friends won't like me saying so, but I gotta call it as I see it. That's exactly what happened when they gave the character to Zack Snyder. He cobbled together what was to be an introduction to the character, with one that saw its end on the horizon. Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns. It was something new, based on something old, but I don't think he understands why the character was written that way in the first place. It was somewhat of a reaction to how the character had been perceived after the 60s TV show. Remember, in that situation, fans got to see the transition, what came before and what came after. Trouble for Snyder's vision began long before it was shoehorned into a Superman sequel. The minute it followed the beloved Christopher Nolan trilogy. Those films pay respect to the source material. The changes made were merely cosmetic. Snyder's vision sort of does the opposite. It cosmetically pays respects to the source material, but leaves one vital part out of it. Sure, there were hints of why Batman broke his one rule, but I can't stress this enough. Hints are not character development. Thankfully, and not a moment too soon, DC Films has moved on from Zack Snyder and his grim vision. Not only that, but Ben Affleck has walked away from the role of the Batman and the worlds of DC. So where do we go from here? Within this video, I intend to solve that riddle. Take one glance at the source material and it's clear to see. We're not talking about a character who can be pigeonholed into one kind of story here. Yet the modern cinematic take seems to only come in one style of framework. The old tried and true grounded approach. I hope Matt Reeves comes at it from a different angle. I guess what I'm looking for is something more akin to the Batman animated series than The Dark Knight. And about as far away from Batman vs Superman as fucking possible. The animated series had stories about overcoming fear, crippling psychosis, tragedy, organized crime, evil geniuses, monsters, mad bombers, the occult. Anything was possible, because the show always struck from the heart of its main character. It was always true to the Batman. Hollywood has treated some of the greatest villains in Batman's rogues gallery as if they were interchangeable. So very few of them are created without his involvement. It's either a direct result of him, Wayne Enterprises, or Bruce Wayne. What can I say? People love a good beef. So it works, from a certain point of view. But if you ask me, it flies in the face of Batman's existence. Life happens at random. If that's not the lesson Bruce Wayne learned that fateful night, then I don't know what is. I could be overthinking it. Probably. Definitely maybe. I mean, they could go back to the well. Maybe connect Batman to the Mad Hatter story or something. The general audience really wouldn't mind. And even if they do, this is Batman for fuck's sake. They aren't going to so much as bat an eye at that old tried and true movie trope. It's become so viciously boring at this point that it would be refreshing to see a villain without any overt ties to the main character, while redefining the franchise in the process. There are voices in the deepest part of the fandom that say, the greatest gadget in the utility belt isn't a blowtorch, fear gas antidote, or even bad shark repellent. It's the writers. Normally I'm not one for joining in with the crowd, but they are not wrong. The writers put him in the craziest death traps imaginable, and then it's like, poof! I have a gadget for that. Look, I'm not saying the gadgets are a problem, but they certainly can be. Sometimes, even in the Nolan films, they come off as kinda hokey. Somebody explain to me what this is, and what's its function. Go ahead, I'll wait. If Matt Reeves intends on giving us a film noir detective story, well then the gadgets have to toe the line. Batarangs, bolas, lockpick, handcuffs, maybe a mirror, nothing too crazy. That way it puts an emphasis on that big ass brain of his, when he has to get himself out of a jam. A look into the psychology of the Batman reveals it's a case of the stranger, the hidden and the passenger. From his walk to his speech patterns, Bruce Wayne isn't real. He's a fake. An unfortunate necessity. A wet blanket, who only exists in the matter of moments he goes back to that alley, on the anniversary of his parents' death. Hollywood has shown how Batman affects Bruce Wayne in a negative way. Is it possible it's the other way around? What was once known as the information superhighway has dwindled down to baseless rumors and manufactured lies, designed to detract. It's like the Wild West out there. So I say stick to your guns and don't allow yourself to be jaded by the online trolls and goons. Be patient and only pay attention to reputable sites. Let's say The Hollywood Reporter, Variety, and Revenge of the Fans. Get your information there and rest assured there's some integrity and truth to it. But whatever you do, stay away from comic book news. I'm almost certain brain-dead chimps run that site. All of that being said, we are indeed looking at a story of Batman in his early prime. Written and directed by Matt Reeves. Played by Robert Pattinson. Not exactly my dream scenario. Richard Armitage, I'm looking at you. But if you don't roll with the punches, you'll never make it in Gotham. While many are throwing bitch fits on the internet, I remain hopeful. I've never seen any of the Ape or Twilight films, so these choices are a bit of a blank slate for me. But I have heard great things about the Ape films, and since his casting, I've taken a look at Robert Pattinson's recent work, and I've gotta say, a true detective Batman, in his early prime, with minimal gadgets, maximum intellect, and more than his fair share of mental issues, definitely feels like it's in his wheelhouse. So long as Matt Reeves has weighed out the options on his own.